Hi, I'm Ben.
I'm Graham.
Today we're going to show you how to make some homebrewed beer. We're making a Australian lager, that's the can in there, in hot water because it's really thick and it'll be easier to get out of the can once we warm it up. And a can was $15 at Superstore. You can get kits that are already basically pre-mixed, but those are like 40 bucks and we have no money. Graham's now opening the can, and we will add it to our 2 liters of water in this fine pot. Does it taste like beer?
Tastes delicious.
Oh god, no. So good.
It's horrible.
Here's all our brew making stuff. And people on the internet say that it has to be very sanitary, otherwise bad stuff gets in it and makes your beer taste bad. So we have this mixture of potassium metabisulfate. Has instructions of how to mix it, and they say as long as it still smells like death, you can keep reusing it. And then ours, once it mellows out, we add a little bit more. Might be a little stronger in that actually, but we'll dump it in the primary fermenter here, and make sure it gets sterilized. And this is a certain type that we have to rinse out after, actually, so I'm going to hop in the bathtub and rinse it out with water. You can get no rinse sterilizers, which would be easier. And since this isn't a no rinse sterilizer, we're going to have to boom, rinse the stuff out so that our beer doesn't taste like bleach. Graham's cautiously pouring the hot wort, as it's called, before it's fermented into beer, into the can to get some more of that sticky icky out.
The stickiest of
Hey.
So, I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to boil the wort, as it's called. That may be why it smells like burning all the time. So I dropped the lid of the can in our beer, so I'm cautiously gonna dip in my sterile glove and pull it out.
Yeah, anytime anything touches the beer, you have to make sure it's sterilized. Otherwise, your beer can taste funny. Like sometimes when I'm siphoning the beer into the secondary fermenter over here, I start it with my mouth, and I think this time we're going to try a different approach because I usually end up spitting in the beer. On the first batch of beer we made, we filled up the carboy here that's used for the second half of fermentation and dumped it into here. And we made a little mark so we know how high to fill it so that it's not too much to fit in there. So to recap, we have a can of extract that we got from the store. Then put 2 liters of boiling water on to make the syrup easier to mix. And then it'll probably add, I don't know, a bunch more up to that line. Alright, the sheet we got from the store with all the supplies says 5.5 cups should result in about a 5% alcohol of beer. On the can they said 1 kilogram of sugar. I assume that 5.5 cups is going to be about 1 kilogram. Maybe I shouldn't assume, but I'm going to go with that. Also, yeast eats sugar, and the byproducts are alcohol and carbon dioxide. So, if you want your beer to be a little more high octane, if you add a little more sugar, you should achieve that. Even counting how many cups I put in?
Yeast needs oxygen to live, and so we are going to shake up this water, get a little more oxygen in it, so it'll be good for the yeast. We have to do this before we put in the yeast, because yeast is kind of pansy and it can't withstand a lot of shaking or heat.
If I get drunk, well, I'll pass out on the floor now, baby. You won't bother me no more. And if you're drinking, well, you know that you're my friend, and I'll say, I think I'll have myself a beer.
Still shaking. I like when we're shaking, not stir. Closing in on our line. Alright, well. Good. Yeah. Alright, now we're adding our yeast. We have this little thermometer on our bucket here. It tells us temperature it is. When we first put our little yeast friends in, it should be from 70 to 80 degrees to give them a little jump start. And then we should let it get down to from 65 to 70 degrees for the rest of the fermentation process. Try and bite it. Make sure to get it all in there. These are the money makers here.
Alright guys, party on. And you want to have your primary fermenter up somewhere high, so you don't have to move it when it's time to siphon on day 5 into there, because then you'll stir up all the yeast fun stuff at the bottom that you're supposed to leave behind. Now the most important step of the process is to start collecting bottles. It usually takes about a little over 60 to bottle a whole batch. So get to it. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. We'll try and answer them or direct you to someone else on the internet who could answer them better.